Welcome to Beatsource Tech and our wrap-up of the NAMM Show 2024, which took place at the end of January in Anaheim, California. I apologise for the lateness of this video. The post-NAMM illness, aka NAMMthrax, is legendary and it fully hit me this time. But I definitely wanted to get this done as there's a fair bit to discuss. Firstly, let's talk about how the show itself was. NAMM returned to its traditional January date after moving around the calendar a bit post-pandemic. This was good in many ways, but it did mean there hadn't been a full year since the last show in April 2023, and that might have impacted how many new products were on display. The show was definitely busier though, across all days, and the atmosphere was great, especially in the part of the show which I call DJ Corner, more on that later. Now though, let's talk about some specifics, and of course the focal point of the news was Pioneer DJ, or is it Alpha Theta? Well, it's both. A couple of days before the show, the parent company Alpha Theta announced the creation of a new Alpha Theta brand, which is intended to live alongside Pioneer DJ and their other brands. Let's be clear about this, whether you love them or hate them, nobody can deny that Pioneer DJ have always been very good at marketing. So to see them produce such an absolute masterclass in poor communication around this news was quite a surprise. A huge proportion of people read the press release as meaning that Pioneer DJ as a brand was going away, and I can't blame people for that takeaway. I myself was equally confused until I had the situation clarified for me by their team. Then there's the weirdness around the name itself, Alpha Theta being brought to you by Alpha Theta. That's kind of odd. And the fact it's not a universally pronounced name either. Their European team pronounce it Alpha Theta and the US team Alpha Theta. I actually like the concept of what they're trying to do with it. It's a new brand which doesn't have the legacy ties of Pioneer DJ, and so they can be a bit more experimental. But then it's painfully obvious, with the benefit of hindsight, that the Opus Quad should have actually been the first Alpha Theta branded product last year. The fact that that's branded Pioneer DJ now throws the line off kilter to me. Add to all of this the undercurrent of negative feelings also present in the DJ community about Alpha Theta's intended acquisition of Serato, which has yet to be approved by regulators, and you have a perfect storm of factors which meant the two Alpha Theta products which made their debut at NAMM, the Omnis Duo and the Wave 8 speaker, didn't have much hope of getting a positive reaction from the internet at large. And that is a shame because they're decent products. I haven't reviewed the Wave 8 myself, but Cleveland Terry seemed to like it, and you should check out his review on that one. I did review the Omnis Duo, however, and I really liked it. No, it's not a new idea, and I definitely think a device like that ought to have streaming capabilities out of the gate in 2024, plus it is a little more expensive than the competition. But overall it brings all the things I loved about the Denon DJ Prime Go to the standalone record box world, and that's definitely something which a lot of DJs were looking for. It's also, if you exclude the ancient XDJ RR, which you should, the most affordable entry point into that standalone record box platform at this point. Aesthetically, it's divisive, but then so is the Opus Quad, which I thought looked horrible, but that sold like gangbusters anyway, as many other people thought it was gorgeous. For what it's worth, I didn't hear any negative impressions of the Omnis Duo from people who got hands-on with it at the show. It's a product which makes more sense when you're actually stood in front of it, but there's no denying that the whole episode cast a shadow over the massive Pioneer DJ / Alpha Theta stand this year. Moving on, Reloop made a big splash with their new Mixtour Pro, designed in collaboration with Laidback Luke. If you're not aware, for a while now Luke has been performing with Algoriddim's DJ Pro on his phone, using the old Mixtour as his controller and interface. That device was never intended for use in front of thousands of people at festivals and big clubs, and so the Pro is significantly upgraded to be more at home in such environments. It promises to have much improved sound and controls which take full advantage of DJ Pro's advanced features like neural mix stem separation. I do have some concerns about how much layering is involved if you want to use it with 4 decks, and a lot of people are questioning the price. At $500 it isn't cheap, but I'm definitely intrigued as to how much potential fun there could be in adopting Luke's own workflows to my style. It must be said that Reloop have had a few issues getting products onto store shelves in a timely fashion lately, but they seem confident in a summer ship date for the Mixtour Pro, so I look forward to giving it a try later this year. On a related note, they weren't able to announce this at NAMM due to Apple's embargo, but Algoriddim's DJ software is now available on the Vision Pro, Apple's new AR headset. I won't be buying one of those just to try it, but it seems very impressive and I'm hoping to get a hands-on soon. They also announced integration with Apple Music across all versions of their app, which is definitely an unexpected move. As I am a representative of Beatsource, I obviously can't review that service in an unbiased way, but I suggest you check out the video which Phil at Digital DJ Tips clips made on the subject. There are definitely some quirks to it, but I'm excited about anything which helps more DJs discover the value of streaming. Before we move on, let's address the elephant that wasn't in the room, InMusic. The owner of brands like Rain, Denon DJ and Newmark did not have a booth once again. They haven't since 2020, but they did have a number of team members in attendance, an off-site location, and they showed myself and some other folks early previews of some future hardware. And while I obviously can't give away any clues about what that is, I will say that if you're a fan of those brands, there is definitely going to be some stuff to look forward to later this year and beyond. There just wasn't anything quite ready for public consumption at the time of the show. The Hercules DJ Controller Impulse T7 was the surprise hit of NAMM 2023, so it was no shock to see their stand buzzing again this year, and the affordable spinning platter controller showed up on a few other stands too. They actually had a new version on display this time, the Premium Edition. This features their own premium fader module, some extra scratch slip mats, and a carry bag, and is decked out with a few gold accents. At around $150 more than the standard version, it remains excellent value, and it will be a more turnkey solution for those who like to cut and scratch, which I think is most of the market for the T7. I won't review the premium version as such, but I do have the carry bag and their premium fader module in the lab already, so we'll bring you my thoughts on those soon. Headliner had a 4-channel version of their affordable R2 rotary mixer on display called, as you'd expect, the R4. I thought the R2 was an excellent entry point into the world of rotaries when I reviewed it last year, despite a somewhat underwhelming filter section, and the R4 is very much more of the same, but with 2 extra channels. So much so in fact that I might end up skipping it for review, as I'm not going to have much new to say about it. At around $600 in the US, I'm confident in saying it's going to be a great choice if you want a budget rotary with 4 channels. One thing I didn't already make a video about from the show was the Korg HandyTrax Play. This is notable for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it's been a long time since Korg made any DJ specific hardware, and secondly, it's the last product which Toshi Nakama, former CEO of Vestax, was working on before he sadly passed away last year. Indeed, it's very much modelled on the original Vestax HandyTrax, but with a number of interesting new features like a built-in looper with speed adjustment, a delay effect and a filter. The one on the show floor was under glass, but I did get a chance to play with a prototype behind closed doors, and I was very impressed by its stability, and those new features are implemented really well. I do have some concerns about its usability for DJs who use their left hand on the fader due to the tone arm position, and the pricing they suggested to me seemed a little high, but I'm absolutely excited to get to know it better when it drops later in 2024. Another company Toshi had been working with was G-Co, and they were showing off their latest 44/7 replacement styli, the SD or synthetic diamond versions. These are designed to offer a more affordable price point than their current lineup, which I know are rather expensive for many DJs. There was a set waiting for me when I got home, so I'll bring you my review of those soon. They weren't the only ones with an M44 stylus on display. Stokyo had the DJ44Gs from Nagaoka on their stand, which are definitely on the less pricey end of things too. I bought home a pair of those for review also. I'll probably try and do them at the same time as the G-Cos, and I was impressed when I tried them, with the only disappointment being that they only seem to be doing 44Gs and not 44/7s at this time. Also on the Stokyo booth was their Record Mate, a reinterpretation of the classic crate-digging portable turntable, the Columbia GP3. Designed for playing vinyl and mixing with their accompanying mixer, the Record Mate isn't really one for the portablists, but I really dig its design and aesthetics and will bring you a review very soon. One brand I was very happy to see at the show was Humpter. They're a Polish manufacturer who make this really interesting B3 DJ stand, which is fairly portable but also incredibly sturdy and solid feeling. It's expandable too, with extra wing pieces, and it offers a plethora of mounting points for various accessories. You may have seen the company's products before. They weren't showing anything new at NAMM as such, but the difference is that they now have distribution in the US thanks to ProX, and they also have a good UK distributor now, so hopefully I'll be able to bring you a review in the coming months. On the subject of stands, it seems like the pedestal or podium stand is very much the zeitgeist for mobile DJs right now. I saw a number of nicely made ones at the show, like this one from ProX themselves, and Odyssey had a number on display too. They definitely aren't the best choice for DJs who need to travel light, but for those who have a decent sized vehicle, they offer a really classy look both from the front and above thanks to the custom engineered top plates. I was pleased to see that the MVP or Multimedia Visual Performer from Forecast made another appearance. The physical design has changed since the last NAMM show, but the principle remains the same: MIDI controlled visuals and lighting to accompany any DJ or live performance. I'm excited to see if it finally gets released this year. In a similar vein, I was quite taken with this little LC1X lighting controller from Boom Lights in Canada, which creates fairly simple light shows from MIDI, but is designed to integrate easily with regular LED strips, which could make it an ideal choice for Twitch streamers. On the subject of streaming, Mackie are clearly going into that market pretty hard. I was shown the DLZ Creator and the Mainstream, both of which look to be very useful additions to a DJ streaming setup. Hopefully I'll be taking a look at both of those on the channel later this year. I was quite intrigued by the Bass Pack as well. Created by a company who specialise in silent disco gear, it takes the concept pioneered by Subpack and brings it to a more affordable price point. I can see a lot of potential uses for it, both in the studio and at gigs, especially as I'm an in-ear monitor user these days. I'll be chasing one of those down for testing as soon as possible. I must also mention the latest Magma bags. As a devotee of 7-inch vinyl, I was very enamoured with their new 45 sandwich, which seems both light and sturdy. I was also impressed by their new Solid Blaze 12-inch record bag too. Which brings me on to some of the more general trends I observed and picked up from speaking to DJs on the show floor. Firstly, vinyl sets are definitely becoming more of a thing. They never really went away, of course, but I was hearing from a number of DJs who've recently been asked to do their first vinyl sets in a long time, as vinyl has been having a resurgence in the world at large, so it seems that it's being more appreciated in the nightlife scene too, and I'm all for that. I love new technology, of course, but there's just something fun about spinning vinyl which will never leave me, and I suspect many of you too. The other trend which has been growing over the past few years is definitely wireless. As well as the new Alpha Theta gear, I saw lots of wireless lighting from the likes of Color Key and ADJ, and wireless speaker technology is definitely on the rise. I think at this stage the industry really needs to coalesce around a particular set of standards for this stuff. Everyone seems to have their own tech, especially on the audio side, and Bluetooth isn't going to cut it when it comes to latency, but I suspect within the next 5 years the vast majority of cables will be on their way out of DJ booths. Let me know your thoughts on that below. One trend I didn't see much of, AI. It's the big buzzword in the wider technology world right now, but at NAMM, whether in DJ Corner or on the wider show floor, it was fairly conspicuous by its absence. I saw a couple of booths touting AI vocalists or backing tracks, but that was about it. I'm not really sure why that was. Perhaps we're a year out from products being ready, or maybe a massive convention centre full of musicians isn't the right place to push products designed to put them out of a job, but nonetheless I was surprised that AI was not more apparent at NAMM. To wrap up, I want to talk about community. For those who haven't attended, NAMM is largely divided into different market sectors. There's a pro audio hall, there's a guitar bit, a woodwind section, a massive area where all the drum stuff is, etc. and of course DJ Corner. And whilst DJ Corner is by no stretch the largest part of the show, it pales in size by comparison with some other sectors. There is something different about it. Because whilst you do have the big stands from Alpha Theta and Hercules, and those from the large distributors like AMS and Mixware, you also have the presence of booths like Stokyo, the Beat Junkies and Jetpack, and the combined booth of 12-inch skins, Inner Fader, Cooler Caps and Glowtronics. Keep in mind that these booths cost an absolute fortune to book and run, and I'm very grateful that they all bother year after year. Because the thing is with DJ Corner, everyone gets along. There's no hierarchy nonsense. DJs will perform on the Stokyo booth, then be found hanging out on the Beat Junkies booth an hour later, or they're performing there too. People like Jazzy Jeff, who I missed this year, and Z-Trip can be just found chilling and checking out the latest kit. Qbert was popping up everywhere, and this year, I think more than ever, I just found myself really appreciating the sense of community that we have as DJs. After the past few years, especially those dark pandemic times, I really value that in-person connection that attending such events can bring. Just knowing that there are other people who are as weirdly obsessed with this stuff as you are is incredibly powerful. So I would implore you, whether you're a new DJ or a cynical old hand, do try and get out to events like NAMM whenever you can. It may not be practical for you to attend NAMM itself, but look out for trade shows and link-up type events where you are, because there's just so much value in being around other people who love music and the art of DJing as much as you do. And on that note, he may be very out of focus, my bad. Let's finish this video with DJ Babu from the Beat Junkies explaining what NAMM means to him and why they do it every year. Thanks to him, thanks to you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
What does a NAMM show mean to me? Well, It was funny. I said this on the live stream, Mo. We made the realization that the junkies, we've been at NAMM for 28 years now. This is 28 years we've been at NAMM. And that's us working for other companies initially in the beginning, doing demos for companies like Vestax and Rain, and evolving to now where we have our own booth with Jetpack. We've been in 28 years later, and you know what keeps us coming back? At this point, for the beat junkies, it makes zero sense for us to be here on one hand. We're not really selling anything. We're not a big company selling some kind of gear, trying to lock down accounts and stuff like that, because this is really just a big trade show, right? But for us, what keeps us coming back is just a sense of community. You know, us being young DJs, I remember what NAMM meant to us at the beginning. It was such a big deal for us to work for a company and get a free mixer. Like, it was fucking everything. Like, oh my God, I know the people who made a Vestax, and it was so awesome. And years later, you know, it's like, I love giving that same excitement to the younger generation of DJs. I love being able to take our stage and highlight DJs that we think, that we admire and we're fans of, and who we think like really embody DJing in 2024. So, and I said something funny. I was like, 28 years at NAMM. I said, it's a fine line between being proud and embarrassed. Like, almost. Yeah. But we're definitely proud. We love it. We love our fellow DJs and the whole scene. So for us, that's what keeps us coming back, is this sense of community. And for us and our companies, the brand awareness doesn't help. That's really, we get no immediate. We actually take a big L every year to be here. It's very expensive, but it's truly a labor for love, of love for us. So we love NAMM, and we hate it.